All right, so today we're in Lafayette. We're at Distillerie Acadian. My buddy Philip, I wanted to come over and try. He's doing some new things. I've made some changes in what he's doing. He's growing. We wanted to go in, check him out. So you guys check this out and let's talk to Philip. All right, so we're in Lafayette. We're with Philip. Philip, I wanted to come by today, check you out, man. You're doing some new stuff. You've got the new bottle and bond out I wanted to check out. You started going into all 53-gallon barrels not long ago, so I really want to check that out, and was talking with Seth Etling a little while back. He was talking about how good your distillate is. So I'd like to try a distillate or some young whiskey just to try that. But really excited to be here with you, man. So just show us around and tell us a little bit about the product.
Cool. I'm excited to have you as well. So yeah, a little background on us. We're just hit a kind of a 10-year company, and people ask us all the time, why don't you have 10-year juice? And that's kind of the backstory, kind of where we started, where we're at now. In that 10 years, it took us 2 years to get permitted.
Oh, wow.
And then once we finally were permitted, we did this almost as an expensive hobby, once a month on the weekends. So think about that. Imagine the amount of distillate we didn't make.
For sure.
And then so that lasted a few years. Then we kind of started going 1-2 days a week, which was kind of a big jump for us. And we were still filling small 10-gallon barrels at that time. Then we elected to go, full-time out of this distillery, max capacity, started filling some larger 15s and 30-gallon barrels. Then we transitioned out of the small barrels. Now, like you said, we're kind of filling all big 53-gallon barrels.
Nice.
And we're transitioning out of the small barrels. So we're completely out of the 10s, out of the 15-gallon. Have a couple of 30 gallons that we'll actually taste today, and then leading into some of the newer barrels that we do have, even at different cooperages that we are using as well.
You're doing different cooperages on, because you started out with Kelvin, right? On 53?
No, we started out with the Barrel Mill out of Minnesota.
Okay.
And that mainly because not many cooperages make the small barrels.
Right.
And so that was kind of our jump to move with that cooperage.
Okay.
Then once we started filling the big 53-gallon barrels, that's when we're completely sourcing the Kelvins.
Okay.
So char number 3, medium toast, phenomenal barrels. Already love what the distillate is doing in those barrels, even as young as it is, but getting to that age. But so now we're just getting to 4 years in a lot of our products, which is why we're starting to put out some bottle and bond products.
Cool.
So big year for us. We just bottled our first Cajun's cut bottle and bond.
Nice.
And this year we're gonna have 3 bottle and bond products. Matrimony, which is a wheated bourbon, we'll try today.
I really liked that the first time I came. That's been a couple years back.
Yeah, so it has a couple more years on it. That one's actually be bottled and bond and actually bottled in about 2 weeks.
Okay.
So we're very close to that. And then leading up to that, a couple months around August is our first rye whiskey bottle and bond that we'll be releasing. So big year for us, 3 bottle and bond products. I know any craft distillery to have a bonded product, much less 3, is kind of a big deal. So we're excited.
Cool. All right, Philip, so tell us all about how the magic happens.
Yeah, so what we're looking at, this is a 300-gallon reflux still, so kind of a hybrid between a pot and a column. So the way it works is as we start to heat up our mash after the fermentation process, the distillate goes up through these stacks, through these sight glasses, and it's kind of depending on the product that we're making on how many plates we're gonna run.
Okay.
So if we're making a whiskey, we'll run one of these plates, so it's almost like a double distillation. We'll get the proof up to around 140 proof. Now this type of still, we can get up to around 185 if we wanted to.
Okay. Proof just goes up, more plates you go through?
More plates you go through, kind of the slower you run it.
Okay.
How high or fast we run the deflagrator as well. at the top, which kind of pushes the distillate back down and allows it to redistill. But so depending on the product we're making, and that being said, bourbon has a regulation you can't distill over 160 proof.
Correct.
Then you start getting into the American light whiskey. So I did make an American light whiskey the other day, and we raised that, I think, all the way to 168 proof whenever we were making that one. But yeah, so most of our day-to-day, we're making bourbon, we're making rye whiskey, we'll distill to around 140 proof, which comes up here. We'll actually make our cuts between our heads, our hearts, our tails. And then once we're done with our distillation, then we'll proof down to a barrel entry of 115, which is what we like here. That's a pretty big change that we made the last couple of years.
Okay.
So we used to go barrel entry 124. But you live, you learn, you grow.
For sure.
And I know we've talked a good bit about, small barrels and in big barrels. There's a mad scientist behind it all. And you have to have special considerations here in the Gulf South because we're so hot, because we're so much more humid than some of these northern states. So, where you're sourcing your barrels from, what type of char, what type of toast that you're actually having on those barrels, barrel size, but also barrel entry proof plays a massive role in it as well. So we used to go barrel entry of 124, right under that 125 regulation that bourbon can go into the barrel. But what we saw is with the lower barrel entry proof, you start to pull less tannins out of the wood, which you do want tannins in some of your bourbons, but you don't want too much. You don't want to be overpowering.
For sure.
But with the lower barrel entry proof, you tend to pull more sugars. So we'll taste some of that new distillate today with the bigger barrels, with the lower barrel entry proof. And it's kind of proof is in a pudding. We've already started to see it where a lot of the small barrels that we did dump, the 15 gallons, we dumped about 98% of those and put them into brand new 53 gallon barrels. Okay. So technically double oak, but the big part of that is we went secondary barrel entry proof to 115. So that's already starting to show you what that lower barrel entry is doing. So we're doing a lot with proof. I mean, even all of our bottle and bonds, we're working on slow water reductions for all of those, so that, the last year or so, then you're starting to get some more sugars out of the wood. And we'll taste our first bottle and bond today. It's so dang good, and it kind of shows you kind of where we're headed, away from the small barrel profile into the larger, and just kind of excited what the distillate's doing in these barrels.
So hindsight, do you think if you had it to do over again, I guess to do it over again, you probably wouldn't go in the small barrels at all, but if you did go into the small barrels, would you have gone in at a lower proof? Do you think that would have yielded you a more favorable or sweeter product?
So that's a hard question to answer. Here's why. I would still do small barrels again.
You would, okay.
Because what small barrels allow a small craft distillery to do is once you start to have some barrels available and you want to do barrel picks, you're relatively unknown. So with these small barrels, it allowed us to get into these stores to do barrel picks and kind of a lower cost of entry for these retailers.
Okay.
And we sold many of these small barrels to these retailers, and then that kind of started to get our name out of there. Versus if we'd only have 53s, I don't really know you, I don't know if I can commit. Can I buy a quarter barrel? Can I buy a half barrel? Then you start getting into that. So I wouldn't go 53s to start. Now, if we say wait 6-8 years for our first single barrels ever, that might be a different story. But yeah, on that proof, if I could go back, I would absolutely change our initial barrel entry proof, especially in those smaller barrels.
Okay, cool deal. Let's look at some fermentation over here. So when did you fill these tanks?
So these were both mashed in yesterday. So these are both Cajun's cut bourbon, so 69% corn, 12% rye, 6% wheat, and 13% malted barley. So this will go about 6 days, and you can see it's starting to raise and have pretty active fermentations going on. At the end of the fermentation process, that's whenever the grains tend to drop. The fermentation slows down and pretty much tells us that it's done, but we're taking gravity readings along the way.
Eli was telling me about that yesterday, like the size of the bubbles is like when it's really aerobic, and then as it gets towards the end of it, it goes more anaerobic, and then it kind of just fades out, right? Like it's not dead, right? It just kind of goes dormant basically, I guess. All right, so I told Philip I really wanted to try some raw distillate. He's like, I don't have anything that's just fresh off the still, but I do have some that's been in the barrel for 7 days. Look at that color, just 7 days. And that could pass as American light whiskey color-wise already. That's crazy. All right, so 7-day-old distillate, right? So you literally took this off the still 7-9 days ago and barreled it?
Yeah,
Okay.
7 days ago. So I didn't have any fresh distillate. This is the closest thing I have to, but it's gonna taste exactly like the distillate.
For sure.
So this is 7 days, like we said, in a 53-gallon Kelvin, char number 3, medium toast. You can see the kind of initial color it gets off of it in only 7 days.
Yeah, you don't smell any of the barrel impact on it. Dude, that thing's like apple juice for me. Like, it smells really good.
And this is Cajun's cut distillate. So the same fermentations we just saw in there.
Shit's good, dude. I know you said you don't like distillate.
Yeah, not for me. I mean, it's nice to...
I smell apple juice on that. I taste apple juice on that. That is freaking fantastic. That's really,
I say I don't like distillate. It's been a fun experience over the last several years, especially since I started the experimental whiskey line. So in that, we're using different grains, different mash bills, and one of them we use the grain of triticale. Okay. Triticale is a hybrid between rye and wheat, so you kind of get the best of both worlds. And when I mashed this, I think it was a 70% triticale whiskey.
Okay.
And it smelled and tasted like Cinnamon Toast Crunch.
Nice.
And it followed through on the distillate. So that's the times when I do like the distillate. I like to see what they're doing. Now in our everyday, main production items, which is our Cajun's cut, our matrimony wheated bourbon, our rye, the rye distillate is by far my favorite.
Don't have any yet. So what is the mash bill of this? It's corn, rye, and barley?
No, so this is the Cajun's cut, which is our 4 grain. So 69 corn, 12 rye, 6 wheat, and 13% malted barley.
So it does have some wheat in there.
Yes,
that's where that soft wheat, that soft sweetness is coming from. I would drink that by itself, literally. And it's cold in here, so that's got a cool temperature. Mm-hmm. That's enjoyable. Like I would put that over ice and enjoy the shit out of that, just like it is.
It's fun to see, the different.
You want to sell a barrel of 7-day-old whiskey?
7-day-old.
Wouldn't that be something to put on a label? TTB would be like,
yeah, it wouldn't hold the straight name, but it's still bourbon.
Yeah. My goodness, it is. That excites me. I wouldn't say that if I didn't mean it.
Yeah.
Bottle and bond.
Bottle and bond. So we're finally here. It's been a long road. But yeah, so this is our first bottle and bond to come out, one of 3 this year. So what this specific is, Cajun's cut 4 grain bourbon.
Okay.
And this was in 30-gallon barrels.
Okay.
So we blended about, I think, 7 or 8 different barrels together. Again, slow water reduction over that last year that we did. And so we just hit 4 years, and I'm excited for people to try it because it is going to be a little more appealing to the masses, compared to the smaller barrels. Yeah. And just a little bit different profile.
I think that the label, like the way that red pops, whatever they used in this label right here, that's fantastic. Like that's really sexy.
Yeah, we tried to up our game a little bit. I mean, we have raised letters, we have foil on here, a little bit different cork that we went with. You can kind of hear that, a good cork pop on it.
And I'm glad that you're going synthetic. I don't know why everybody doesn't go synthetic because I'm lazy. I don't want to flip bottles, right? When you get multiple bottles, it's just hard to go through and flip them.
Well, that was a big thing for me. So it took me about 6 months to find this cork. I knew I wanted kind of a darker wood to get the look that I wanted, but I most definitely wanted synthetic. Got a couple of real corks in just to test out and see, but that's one of them. Got to flip your bottles.
Yeah.
And you don't get as good of a cork pop as you do with a synthetic. So that was a main kind of driving factor for us to go synthetic.
Yeah, I've noticed like a lot of mine, like even some of the wild turkeys, the cork dries out, so it gets smaller, and so now you've got stuff leaking by that on an open bottle. It's terrible, Or if it does fit, and you haven't ever opened the bottle, it's usually going to tear about a quarter of the way down in there. Now you got to figure out how to do
exactly.
That, right?
And look, you learn about corks. This is our first time using this specific cork. When we first started, we use a cork and we get calls from customers like, man, your top broke off the cork, and that's just kind of a pain for us all, right? So we transition out of those, and you never know. I mean, you try a cork out and it may not work, but so far we like what we see out these. Cool. We just spent a lot of time talking about a cork.
Yeah, I know, right? Nerds. All right, let's dig into it, man.
Cool, pour it up.
Well, I was going to let you pour it, but I'll pour it. I was like, didn't want to take that away from you because I know how much this one means to you because you and I have been talking about it for quite some time. I guess we've been talking about bottle and bond for 2 years now. You've been talking about it.
We have, and so we're finally here, and I'm not going to make you drink alone. But it's exciting.
It does make me feel like an alcoholic.
Drinking alone?
Yeah. Definitely not as dark as those smaller barrels where you don't get that, that licorice or anything like that. This is more honey.
Yep.
There's a nice grain note in that as well.
Yeah, so there's two things that's gonna happen with our whiskey as we continue to mature and get older. Is one, it won't be as dark as before, right? We're not using those smaller barrels.
Right.
But also two, if you are a proof seeker, if you want the highest proof possible, we won't be your distillery. Yeah, we'll have some certain barrels here or there.
Sure.
But now that we went with the lower barrel entry proof, our cast strength single barrels, they're probably going to sit around 114 to 117.
I love it.
Right there. Which is, I absolutely love that.
I do too. I mean, Michter's does it, Hard Truth does it, Dad's doing it, you're doing it. Several brands are doing that low entry proof. And to me, I love a 107 proof Michter's barrel strength rye. Like, that's just really good whiskey to me. I couldn't care less about the number, I mean.
Yeah, exactly.
But a lot of people do seek that.
Now we are playing with different barrel entry proofs as well. I just did an oated bourbon where that went barrel entry at 100 proof.
Okay, that's really good. It's really sweet. It does not have that astringent bitterness that you have when a barrel has really impacted the whiskey. That finish is honey for days. Dude, that's really good.
Yep.
That's
really excited about how this one turned out, especially our first bottle in the bond.
And this distillate is 4 years old?
It's 4 years old, that's right. Yep.
And you married 30-gallon barrels and then did slow water reduction.
Yeah.
Really,
So, and
really
even
nice.
look at that. Look at that next transition. It'll be fun to see in a couple years, where now we're bottle and bond. It may be 4 or 5, maybe even 6 years for the bonded, but now we're bigger barrels. A little bit less barrel impact as well.
Right.
Kelvin barrels, char 3.
It'll have a different flavor profile.
It will. So it's going to continue to evolve as we move along.
That is real. The finish on that is for days. And I like to talk about, like, a lot of times you think bottled and bond, you think, okay, I'm buying a bottle of water, right? This guy just took this much whiskey and put a bunch of water in it. But bottle and bonds that are done right, and like this one, I talk about flavor dial. Like, when I taste a whiskey, did it register like a 2, 3, 4 on the flavor dial, or is it like way up here around 10? I mean, that thing is a 7 all day long on the flavor, none of which is offensive. Like, it's not over the top, it's not too watery, and then it's got a long finish, which tells you it was done right for me. If it didn't have any finish, I'd say it had too much water in it.
Well, and that's a couple of factors of what we do. So we use a high grain to water ratio. So you're going to get a lot of flavor impact coming out of that fermentation. Then when we use our type of still, right? We're not using a column still. So we're able to make true cuts on every single distillation, as well as retain a lot of that flavor and dial in or dial back on the actual proof coming off of the still. So that's what we seek out to make, is just a big, bold, kind of in-your-face bourbon. You're going to get a lot of flavor out of it. You're going to get a long finish.
The finish is still hanging in there. And I said honey earlier. That's not honey. That's got to be more like mead. It's got to be like barrel aged type honey. Like, you know what I mean? Because there is a slight oak impact, which you want in whiskey. Is what we like bourbon, right? So it's not just like honey right off the spoon, bright honey. It's like a little bit darker honey, like a caramelized honey, if that's a thing. I don't know.
Yep.
But yeah.
Bright rungs are barrel mill. All of the rusted rungs are Kelvin.
Okay.
All right. So what we're looking at here, pretty much this wall is going to be all of our Cajun cut bourbons. You see we have a few 30 gallons remaining. Then we get into some barrel mill 53 gallons, which are going to be new make 53s. Some of these are actually mingled that we talked about, from the 15 gallons to the 53s. Then we get into some of these newer kind of Kelvin barrels that we filled. All of these here on the ground, these are all double oaked T-Moon that are double oaking right now. And then we have a couple of double oak finished T-Moons. We have a Boucher, which is a type of mead. This is a blackberry mead, blueberry mead. So a couple different finishings that we're gonna have a cigar blend for that.
Oh, cool.
So that cigar blend, that's gonna be kind of a big hit, probably come Thanksgiving this year.
And T-Moon, totally different, not bourbon, right?
Yep. So T-Moon, 4 grains, corn, rye, wheat, and barley, but we add cane sugar to the mash.
Okay.
So you get notes of a whiskey, sweetness of a rum. It's like if whiskey and rum had a baby.
Okay.
So if you go into it looking for a big, bold bourbon, you're going to be disappointed. But if you go in kind of open-minded, you'll be pleasantly surprised that it's just an easy sipper.
Okay.
So back here in this corner, these small barrels over here, this is the last of our American single malt whiskey. We will not have any more of this ever again. So once these are sold out, most likely at the end of this year, there'll be no more single malt coming out of this distillery. This barrel right here, this is our second and final batch of our American single malt, finished with toasted pecan, cherry wood, and amburana barrel that we just released. So that's gonna be the second iteration of it.
Very interesting.
Then coming on to this side, this side of the barrel house right here, these are all matrimony, which is our wheated bourbon. So we do have a couple of 30s come out of those, and then getting into our 53s. And then back over here, this is our rye whiskey. So again, the bright rungs, these all coming out of barrel mill out of Minnesota. And then the rusted or darker rungs are all Kelvin Cooperage, char number 3, medium toast.
Very cool.
And then finally, over here in this back corner, some smalls, some big barrels. These are all of our experimental whiskeys. So we have different grains, triticale, blue corn, malted white corn, red corn. We do have a red, white, and blue bourbon in a couple of these barrels that will be picked only by veterans or someone.
Oh, really cool.
In the forces. So yeah, so kind of a variety of different things. This one right here, this is a rye whiskey that we put in a French oak barrel.
Okay.
So
that's gonna be interesting. That's probably pretty spicy.
Yeah, this is 100% French oak. It never hit American white oak. So this will be an interesting one as well.
Yeah. I remember when you were doing the black barrel heads like that, like kind of like reverse stenciling, I guess, right?
Yeah, all of those have it on all of our experimentals. We'll taste this one. So I know
I need one of those finished in a quarter head eventually, like that. I like that.
This was a fun one. So this was 33.33% corn, 33 rye, 33 wheat. I know you probably don't know what this is, but our grocery store here is Rouse's. Yeah. And they sell a type of cake. It's a white cake and it has white cream with blueberries and strawberries in it. It's called a chantilly cake.
Yeah, yeah.
One of the best cakes ever.
My mother-in-law loves those.
So this whiskey smells and tastes like chantilly cake.
No kidding.
And it's only not but 2 years old. Okay. So it's not ready yet, but we'll taste it and you can kind of see what that whiskey is doing. But this shows you what our experimental line is meant to be. Okay. It's meant to be something different. It's not going to be, hit our profiles of our other bourbons. They're going to be wildly different and good.
That's fun.
Fun.
Ooh, those barrel heads, man. Those things camera's grabbing that. All worked up.
Yeah. This one too. So you can see slow water reduction.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I start to label them as we're reducing them. So I can't wait. We'll go through this way and probably finish over here.
Sounds good. Yeah.
I cannot wait for you to try these two.
I'm excited.
So my rye has 2 different profiles. One is going to be earthy, slight mint, just real kind of your everyday shelfer, really very, very good. Those are meant to be bottled and bond.
Okay.
Then we have, and I don't really know why, I'm still trying to understand the science and what's happening, but some of these barrels are completely off profile. And they're absolutely delicious. This barrel right here smells and tastes like grape Laffy Taffy. Really? Wildly different from this.
Yeah, yeah.
So I can't wait for you to see the difference.
Now, were these ryes grown in the same crop? And do you know any of that information?
Yes, it was all grown out of Texas. It's a Bono rye.
But like, were they part of the same crop year and all that stuff? Like, did they come out of the same field?
Yes.
Okay, because we were talking about the whole thing with Corbin
These
Cash.
were just the same grain, distilled within a week or two, if not the same day as one another.
And just totally different.
Totally different.
Wow.
Exactly. Yeah, so what we're drinking right now, this is Cajun's Cut, full grain bourbon, but this is some of our first virgin 53 barrels. They've never hit a smaller barrel, smaller than 53. This was barrel entry proof at 124.
So this one is a little darker than the bottle and bond, right? So you're getting more molasses off of it, darker fruits.
It's probably around 125, 126 proof is what these typically sit at.
It's spicy enough to know that it's got some proof on it, but it doesn't like really drink high proof for me. We haven't had a whole lot. Dude, the finish on that is really, really good. It's very similar to that bottle and bond sweetness. It's just a little bit more impacted, a little bit darker flavors, where that one was a little bit brighter, right? This is really good.
Yeah.
I get all the same characteristics that I got off of the whiskey that was in the smaller barrels, but none of that negative impact that like really where that char hit them. And your whiskey is really shining through here. Dude, your whiskey is super sweet.
And that's what's going to be cool, especially in a couple of years whenever we get there, is you're going to have your everyday shelf of bottle and bond. And then if you want just a little more proof, a little more flavor impact, a longer finish, that's where our single barrels are going to come through.
For sure.
So it's going to be very similar, but if you just want that extra punch, that's going to be our single barrels.
Man, a ton of like almond and cashew types nutty going on there in the mid to finish. That's really good.
This is actually about to hit 4 years in June.
Okay.
This one's designated for single barrel, so this is going to go around the 6 year, 7, maybe even 8 year mark.
That's leaning into that profile that I don't love.
It is. It is. So that's where you'll see these kind of distillate go. The wheat softer, but also the small barrels. I mean, it spent 2.5 years in the small barrels, and then it got mingled. So you're getting that double oak.
Like up front, I get a lot of dark chocolate, like a ton of dark chocolate, but it's like towards the back of the palate is where it starts to turn like that, whatever that is.
Yeah, but what you can see kind of in the grains in the mash bill, it is less spicy with that.
Yes.
It has no rye in there. It's
Right.
a little bit softer, even though those small barrels did have a big impact on it.
Yeah, the only like spicy type that you're getting off that is the proof. You know, is the proof.
Yeah.
And so you went in at 115. So are you typically seeing a slight increase on your barrels, or is it usually?
It depends on the month
proofing
that they go in. Yeah. So we'll have some, like we used to go barrel entry 124. The highest of those we've ever had was 130.1. The lowest we've ever had was, I think, 119.
Okay.
So there's a big variance in there, kind of depending when they go in the barrel, and also what size barrel they're going into as well. So we're still learning with these big barrels on how they're aging, how the proof's affecting them. So our rye is 67% rye,
Okay.
20% Louisiana corn,
Okay.
and 13% malted barley. And
That's a very unique mash bill.
well, funny story about our rye is I had a good buddy. He works for Parish Brewery right here in town. And he's like, hey man, are you gonna make a rye whiskey? I said, I don't think so. I don't like rye whiskey. He said, he humbled me. He said, Philip, we started doing a lot better as a company when we started listening to our customers.
Yeah.
So I shut up.
How much whiskey are you buying, right? Yeah.
But he was like, look, man, he was like, you're not drinking good rye. Let me send you some bottles. And he did, and he was right.
Yeah.
And it made me dive all in. What it told me that I specifically did not want to make a 95.5. A high spice rye.
Yeah.
Wasn't my profile. It wasn't on the
You
profile
want to make
that
a
I
good
wanted
rye,
to make.
bourbon rye, like, yeah.
So that's why I put the 20% Louisiana corn in. And this is my favorite distillate coming off the still.
Now, tell me, this rye came off the still, it went straight in this, or is it small barrels went into this?
Rye has never been small barrels.
Because it was new.
Ever.
It came along at the time you had already made the swap.
Yes, exactly.
Okay. I love rye whiskey. I'm a firm believer that malted barley and rye are two of the most complex grains. I'm ignorant. I have no scientific background.
You're right.
But I feel like they finish better. I feel like if you want a roller coaster of complexity in your whiskey, you need the two of them. It's some variation in there. I like that corn gives you sweetness, but that's all corn gives you is sweetness. But there's no complexity to corn whiskey, right? So I prefer rye with very similar to what you've got here. This is a very unique mash bill. Like, I don't know where you come up with a number. That's cool. Like, it's very unique to you. Nobody else is doing it. I don't think MGP even has that mash bill, do they? Like,
yeah, that's why it's fun, you know. And rye, you're right. I mean, it's one of the two most complex grains. Rye is the hardest by far grain to work with, and I think it's underappreciated on how hard it is to work with. Malted barley is the easiest. That's why I kind of hate that I took single malt out of production, because it's one of the funnest grains to work with.
me too.
The smells off of the fermenters, you know, the mash coming out of there. But those two playing on one another, they're very fun. And so this one was a nice one to make, the mash bill. But in our experimental line, what I did was I also made a wheated rye. I've never heard of a wheated rye, you?
No.
So I have 20% wheat within some of these barrels over here. So that's some
Very
wheated
interesting.
rye.
So you're taking that rye spice, you're softening it down with the wheat, you're sweetening it up with the wheat like you would do with corn.
Yep.
But that's a different sweetness.
So that's kind of what
very
all these experimentals are. Let's just see. Let's try. Let's test it out and see what happens with it.
So you were describing that barrel to me. the way you were describing it, I was kind of like, I don't know if I'm going to like that. The sippers have a more sophisticated palate than I do. Like they've drank a lot more broad spectrum of whiskeys than I have, but they have an appreciation that's different than mine. I like that. And I don't always like everything they like. I love the finishes and stuff that they do with Crittenden because I feel like they know how to finish whiskey. It's a very like, it enhances the flavor of the whiskey. It lends to the whiskey.
It doesn't overpower it,
showcases
right?
that whiskey, right? I don't know how they do that, but they tend to do that pretty well for me. I was guessing that I wasn't gonna like that, but I do. But it's different, right? It's like it's a dark mint in there.
Yep. And so this is not even 4 years old. Actually, I called him last week and I said, hey man, I don't want to sell that barrel yet. You know, so, oh no, absolutely not. We're letting it ride. So this minimum 6 year, maybe 7 year barrel.
No kidding?
Yeah. So this is going to have a long road ahead of it.
It's got, I don't know, does Distillerie Acadian have a distinct dark chocolate note? Because maybe I'm stuck on that mentally, but I'm getting dark chocolate on a lot of different things today. So that's just maybe to you, like.
You know, I mean, I get it as well, especially in our single malt. We get a big milk and dark chocolate coming out of those.
I really wish you would keep flirting with single malts, man, because I'm telling you, when single malts hit, they freaking slap. But
and ours is so good.
But when they're not good, they're just not good.
Single malt just doesn't sell, you know. But it's not. It's out of main production. I'll say that. It's not completely out. I have a special single malt mash bill coming out later this year that's going to go into the experimentals.
Okay.
So I'm still going to flirt around with it, still play with it.
So is this sipper barrel, when it does go, in theory, is going to spillway?
Yes.
Okay. I don't know. You said that's got some time left, right?
Yeah, it's got a bit of time left. But
well, y'all see a Distillerie Acadian. You're calling this a Horizon?
Horizon.
So y'all see a Horizon, spelled like R-Y-E rye, Horizon, show up at show up at Spillway in the next 4 or 5 years. You're gonna want that. Like, holy cow, that's good. Dude, I'm really liking your younger stuff.
Okay,
like,
wait for this one. So this is gonna be wildly different from this one.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's really good whiskey. It's very different. Like,
but that's what I wanted. I didn't want a spicy rye. You know, that turns a lot of people off because they're going into a bourbon. I don't like the spice. This is more of a bourbon drinker's rye, if you will.
It is.
And that's kind of what I sought out to do. And I'm happy to say I kind of hit the mark on that.
You did. Deep, dark sweetnesses, but it does have a hint of that rye spice in there. It has a nice hint of like a darker mint. Like, I like that. I don't like bright mint, and I don't want to feel like I'm chewing on a
like
pine
a
tree.
spearmint, right?
Yeah, I don't care for that much. Yeah. I guess in some cases it comes through okay, but for the most part.
So this one's slightly younger than that barrel.
So August
probably
of 22.
around 124.
This is barrel number 3. When Philip turns his head, I'm gonna put my name on it.
So this is still whenever we did barrel entry proof 124. That wasn't maybe.
Why did you have to tell me, man? Like, it's an undertone of the whiskey. It's not It's not great Laffy Taffy in my face. But now that you've told me that, it's 100% in there. 100% in there. It's in your face on the palate.
Isn't that wild?
Dude, the mouthfeel on your whiskeys is fantastic. It really is.
But isn't it wild that 2 sister barrels, how different they are.
So far.
And that's what I said, you know, once we get to these profiles, these are gonna be our single barrels. Yes, this one.
So this is a French oak rye.
Yeah, so that we just finished a rye. Let's get on this one. This is a Penelope Architect barrel.
Okay.
So French oak. So this has been day one. We're looking at 2.5 years-ish that it's been sitting in here. Right, my math is math.
Yep, you're right at it.
About 2.5.
August will be 3 years, right?
So Virgin 53, but a French oak barrel. So this is gonna be completely different from what.
But this was a used barrel, though, right?
Yes,
So
used barrel.
So the French oak shouldn't have quite as much impact on the whiskey,
True.
but yet still have impact. But now we're talking rye and a French oak, and you're making me like really think: have I had a rye and a French oak barrel?
And completely French oak, not French oak finished.
Right? Yeah, no stays
French
or
oak
anything like
aged,
that. Right.
So you can see very light in color, used barrel,
And so
2.5 years.
So the whiskey's been in this barrel, a used barrel, 2.5 years. So obviously it's going to be lighter.
Probably sitting at around, I'd imagine 125 proof.
So this is probably the closest I'll get to trying your rye distillate today. Like, this will be the most raw rye distillate we have.
Today, yeah.
Totally different nose than what we had earlier. It's a lot brighter, maybe a hint floral.
That spice shines through a lot more on this.
It does. You can tell that that's young rye distillate. I'm gonna tell you rye distillate.
It's good, right? So long way to go on this, and no telling what this barrel's going to be. It may go into a secondary double oak barrel. This may be just a one-off double oak French oak type barrel. It's fun. It's fun to see the different types of wood.
Like you had your raw distillate, so you know more than me. I feel like I'm getting a ton of the raw distillate in there. And I know that you say you're not really a fan. You say you like your rye distillate, but you don't like raw distillate for the most part. I feel like all your distillate that I've had so far, and Seth even told me like some of the best distillate. Like he's got great distillate. I don't feel like the barrel's impacted this a whole lot, but do you? Because you've had the raw.
I do. I get those man, and I can't put my finger on it. It's that certain note that you can tell it's not American white oak.
For sure. It lends itself. You want to say dark, but it's not darker. It's not as bright as the American white oak. It's not as char forward. It's more spicy. God, I wish I could articulate it.
Yeah, that's why
this is syrupy though. This has there again everything we tried today. It's wonderful mouthfeel. I'm a fool for mouthfeel.
Mm-hmm.
Like just really like it. Totally different notes here. Like it's definitely brighter. Oh my God.
Yeah, that one will be fun. So that one's going to be a one. There'll never be another one like that again.
Really?
No, I mean we
well, I at least want a bottle of that when it comes out.
Yeah.
You don't know where to go yet, right?
And so I'm not sure
you're going to keep that distillery only kind of thing?
We'll see.
Okay.
No telling, but what you may not know about this. So this cannot be called rye whiskey.
Okay, why not?
Because rye whiskey has to go into a brand new barrel. If it's not, if it goes exactly similar. If it goes into a used barrel, it is now called whiskey distilled from rye mash.
Are you freaking kidding me?
No, I'm serious. So this label will say whiskey distilled from rye mash.
Just put delicious on it and be done with it.
Well, exactly.
Barrel.
All right, so this is one of our experimentals, the first one. 33.33% corn, 33 rye, 33 wheat.
I absolutely love the black painted barrel heads. And so, so this bung is up, the whiskey's not touching it. So this bung is in the vapor layer of the whiskey, and Seth the Nerd Detling says that when it's in the vapor layer like that, it gives you more information on that barrel. So you can pour that in a glass, you can nose it, you can drink it, you can get the dry glass, and then you can do the dry bung. He's like, all that tells you something different about the whiskey.
I absolutely agree.
I would say that it smells darker. That's going to be interesting.
So this will be our first experimental out of the gate.
33.
Still has a ways to go. It's only a 2-year-old.
Corn, rye, wheat, no malted barley.
No malted barley.
Interesting. Barrel 524.
Yep. So about to hit 2 years old.
This was barrel experimental 002.
This was barrel entry at 115.
15 gallons. So we talked about that when we were introducing the smaller barrels. Wow, that's very unique. It's good. When I say unique, I'm afraid people are going to hear this. Okay, that's weird. I don't know. You do know that.
Yeah, the sweetness shines through. I feel like it's not grainy whatsoever, but the grain shine through as well. You don't get that kind of earthiness from the malted barley because there is no malted barley in it.
I feel like you might lose a little bit of mouthfeel, but it's very complex. Like it rolls. And we're talking about rye and malted barley having the complexity. So maybe you lose a hair complexity because you went corn and wheat. So corn is like a bright sweetness. Wheat is like more of a mouthfeel type of soft sweetness for me. But then you get that complexity from the rye. Mm-hmm. So I don't even know that I can articulate the flavors that are coming through. It's at least a 5 note. There's 4 or 5 different things going on.
Yeah. So this will be, like I said, our first experiment out the gate. But what it shows you is this is what our experimental line is all about. It will be different. Every one of these.
That's very enjoyable. Maybe very long finish. There again, not super thick on the mouthfeel. Probably the thinnest mouthfeel I've had yet, but yet still a ton of finish. I don't get any of the dark chocolate, so maybe that's coming from your malted barley, but I'm getting that.
But remember, we're drinking 2-year-old whiskey also.
2-year-old whiskey in a 15-gallon barrel. And there's nothing about that that's over impacted whatsoever. But there again, it's 2 years, right? So surface area, the whiskey, this is going to be ready a lot sooner than a 53.
Sure.
That's really good. It's not as bright as a summer sip, but it's not as deep and dark as a winter sip by the fire sip. It's somewhere in between. You do get that. I want to say a raw corn shine through, good, eating a corn on the cob. You like that, right? Because all that corn is shining through. So you get the corn in a favorable manner. All I'm really getting from the rye, I'm assuming, is the complexity, but that little bit of spice.
Well, see, in the mid palate, I get almost like a junior mint. A little bit of chocolate, milk chocolate, minty, kind of in the mid palate there. not as long of a finish as kind of, you know, some of the other things we tried today.
But there's some people that don't want a super long finish. Yet there is a finish there.
Yes.
Like it does not fall off a cliff. Like it just goes. And I would say it lends on the finish more milk chocolate.
Yeah, so give this a few more years, let it mature a bit, but promising for a 2-year-old.
Yes,
right?
yes, absolutely. Dude, that's really good.
Yeah.
And kudos to you for like flirting with the mash bill. Like, I don't think we've ever seen a 33.
I've never seen it. I've never seen a wheated rye whiskey, which we talked about earlier.
Yeah.
You know?
That's very cool.
And everyone is, I mean, just uniquely different. I had our grain company call sometime last year, say, hey man, we're sitting on a lot of malted white corn. Never heard of it. One of our distillers kind of backed
Does anybody
out.
malt corn?
They do apparently.
Yeah, it's not.
And you know, I did see Still also put out a malted blue corn in one of their rare stocks.
They did.
It was absolutely delicious.
Okay.
So
you know, I like
I
red
said,
corn better, but I haven't had that one.
yeah, well, that was a rare stock.
Okay.
But you only get distillery
with
release
the
on
corn on
it.
it. On that. I haven't had that. We're going there in August.
Very nice. It'll be fun.
Dude, that is super milk chocolate. Anyway.
Yeah. All right. So this is American single malt whiskey, 100% distiller's malt. So a 6-row malted barley. This is sitting around 3.5 years in a small 10-gallon barrel.
Now you just snuck 6-row barley in there, and a lot of people don't understand that. And I think really you should go Google that and look at the images. But tell us the difference between 6-row, 4-row, 8-row barley, right?
So most of your distillers, they're going to use a 6-row because a 6-row is going to have a high diastatic power.
Okay.
And what that means, basically in simple terms, it's more ability, more power to convert the starches into sugar.
Okay.
So that's why you do all the math to say, all right, here's the amount of corn and rye and wheat that I'm putting in there. I'm gonna cook these grains, I'm gonna gelatinize the starches, and then I'm gonna put this malted barley in with the enzymes, and the diastatic power will tell me how much I can actually convert.
Okay.
You know, we have some distillers that they use no malted barley. They may use roasted malts instead, where once you roast them, then you lose all their diastatic power. Well, this is distiller's malt, so a 6-row malted barley that we had on hand. I was like, well, I had a little more time years ago. I was like, let me try to make a single malt. And I was surprised at how easy it was to work with and fun and the smells, but also how hard it was for fermentation. We overtook fermenters left and right
Really?
in the very beginning until we learned how to work with
Just
it.
they were flowing over and like
They were
bubbling
flowing over just rapid fermentations because the heads
How
on them,
scary, yeah.
and a lot of cleanup. But then we learned how to work with it, and it became immediately one of our favorites. So it hurts our heart that we took it out of production just because of how single malt sells.
It just really stinks that the perception and the lack of perception, people just don't understand American single malts and they're afraid to try them, I think.
Well, I think a lot of
Like
it is people put American single malt into the Scotch category, and they're going to immediately think, oh, it's smoky.
Yeah, or
Where
peaty.
this is not like a Scotch from the Isla regions.
Correct.
This is going to have zero smoke on it. This
Right.
is, you mentioned, you know, a
Space
kind of
Side
chocolate
Hollow.
note on all of our whiskeys.
Yeah.
This is going to be punch you in your face chocolate. Absolute deliciousness, especially on the back end of this palate. So,
Okay.
yeah, this is the last barrels that we have ever available.
Very sad.
And this was pretty low.
So how do you pronounce?
Bon Vale. So our family, we are half Scottish and half French.
No kidding.
Yep. So back in the day, there is a word, Bon Vale, that is half Scottish and half French. It's an ancient parting toast. So they would say Bon Vale. If you actually look at the back of our label for this Bon Vale bottle, there's someone cheers in with a little,
Okay.
with their get up and all. But
That's 100% maltiness. Like if you've ever eaten malted grains or malted barley, that comes through on the nose.
yep. And I get, you know, those wafers, but the chocolate version of those
Yes,
wafers. That's kind of what I get on
It's
the nose.
certainly chocolatey. And it's a mix between like a creamy milk chocolate and a dark chocolate. Like
Yes.
I get a little bit of creaminess, but a lot more dark.